Oh no, bro! Don't even, don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it! Please, please don't do it, dog. She's 18, bro. She's 18, bro. Don't do it.
なあ、聞いてんのか、ガキはな。
What is that supposed to signify an erection? Come on, dog. Alright, boom. Today I'll be reacting to the second episode of the show on Taxi. So if you're trying to jump straight into the reaction, I'll leave the timestamp in the description below. But before I hop into it, I actually wanted to go through a couple of notes that I've taken since I've had like a week to live with this episode, basically. And I wanted to go over a couple of points. And I don't know if this might be the only time I do this. You can let me know in the comments if you like these type of discussions or if you think I should just get right into it. Also, spoilers for episode one, but I think if you're here, then you should have either seen the show already or you're watching it along with me. One of the two. But yeah, I wanted to just go over some notes that I took down because, wow, there's really a lot to unpack in that first episode. First thing I actually want to dig into is the opening of the show because there's also a lot there. Like I interpreted a lot from that, so I wanted to spitball what my interpretations of what the opening was, and then also my projections of where I think the story is going because of that. I'll also just put, I don't know, I'll probably put images somewhere here just so you can see what it is that I'm referencing. But with the opening, right, we see Odokawa reaching out to a stray cat, and then it runs away from him. And we also know that we're looking for a cat girl, so I wonder if that means something. Right after that, we see the idol dog and her backup cat dancers. We also see two guys that we haven't met yet. One of them is a yellow dog, and one of them is a gray cat. We then see the two raccoon dogs, and I think the way to tell them apart is that the older brother doesn't wear shades, like his younger brother wears the white, not shades, sunglasses. Another thing that I noted with that is like the masks. I think they're raccoons now, but the patterns underneath their eyes kind of look like, I don't know if you've seen Robin from Teen Titans, or if you ugh, and this is going way back now. If you remember, was it Robber Red from, I don't know if y'all had Letterland, wherever you come, like wherever you went to school, like first grade. There was this guy named Robert Red who was a criminal. Or just think of the generic like criminal cartoon like illustration, that mask. Now, if that's meant to hint at a criminal double life that this character is leading, because that's what was established, of course, in the first episode. So if that is why that was there, and that I just want to point out that that's like great character design. After that, we see a horse and a warthog that we haven't met yet. We see Dobu, the gangster, and he's chasing some guy on a scooter with hair. That person's either, from the looks of it, is either a hedgehog or a porcupine. I don't really know the difference between the two, so it's one of those. And Odokawa's taxi is in the background of that shot. I don't know if that's insinuating that maybe either Odokawa witnessed something between those two, or his dash cam at some point probably caught something, and then that's the significance of that, right? But anyway, Dobu fails to catch this guy in the scooter. The guy like goes on a like long windy road and he escapes him. And then a frustrated Dobu then goes and wails on a punching bag to vent his frustration. I don't know why he's trying to catch this guy, but I'm gonna look out for that going into the next episode. We then see a Kakihana octopus, right, with hearts in his eyes, which I interpreted as it could either signify just his love, like him being in love with social media, or it could just be like, excuse me, to signify that he's on a dating app. But I think it's kind of it's a bit of both. I don't know what visual double entendres are called, but it's probably that, right? He looks love struck and he also looks addicted. If you look at the hands of that octopus thing, it's constantly like swiping on doing this motion on the phones, swiping and scrolling. Yeah. We then see Odokawa's closet door slide open, and inside we see a cat's hindquarters. Like there's a cat just chilling in there, right? And I'm starting to think that maybe the cat in the opening symbolizes the cat girl that we're looking for. Though that might be a bit on the nose, but then again, that then transitions into Odokawa. Let me go to the next page. I have a lot. Like I took, I don't know, one, two, three, four. I have about 4 pages of notes. The only one page is on the opening, and then the other three are on the first episode. So right now, I just want to dissect the opening, and then I'll jump into the what we actually saw during the episode the second time. So yeah, as I was saying, we transition to Odekawa's floating head, and then he's got the nurse and the doctor on either side of him, right? The alpaca nurse and Dr. Goriki, right? So that had me thinking, even though I'm reaching now, but had me thinking maybe he's got some sort of mental illness. Whatever's causing his insomnia is probably like a mental thing. And then the nurse does like a windshield transition thing to the windscreen of Odokawa's taxi. A bird shits on it, and it's too far, you can't reach from the inside. I don't know what that's about yet. It was just funny. We then cut to the hippo, right? And it's like his head is like an inflatable balloon, right? So what we see the hippo's head get like big headed, right? Whenever his phone lights up from notifications, his head literally blows up. So I think that was a nice visual metaphor for like his ego. You know, when someone says you're getting a big head now, they're usually referring to your ego and stuff. So I think that was like a visual translation of that, where whenever notifications come up, he gets that validation, he gets a big head, and then whenever his phone is silent, he's down and he deflates, right? Um, oh, and then it lights up, and then he inflates again, and then eventually he blows up. I don't know if that's meant to signify that he's gonna at some point during the show actually blow up and become famous, or it's just maybe he'll have a small, maybe it's gonna go viral. I don't know, and then that's gonna have a negative effect on him, and like him blowing up will lead to his demise because when something's blown up, it's gone. Uh, oh, and then right after that, and this is the most interesting part because we haven't seen this character as of yet, but we see a cat playing. He's like a character in a Mario, like a Super Mario type of game, right? And he's dodging bricks while he's collecting these items that fall from the top. The first thing that he collects is a missile. I mean, not a missile. It looks like a missile, but it's actually a red pen, I think, because I saw the thing at the top. Is it the thing at the top that you click? So there's a pen, and then the second thing he collects is a red razor. In fact, it's the exact red razor that the nurse had, right? The third thing that he collects is a blue turkey, and the fourth thing he collects is a standard, like it's like a standard issue eraser that you'd buy at any like stationery store, right? And I don't know what the dodo bird, like the blue turkey thing, what that symbolizes yet, but everything else is stationary. So I'm thinking that this cat person that we haven't met is a student. And keep in mind that the person who is missing is also a high school student and also a cat. So uh, I don't know. That's just in my headspace. I'll see what that comes to. Then we see a shot of a cat girl walking away, and I assume that's the missing. In fact, we think we saw on the camera in the episode, but I'll get to that later. Yeah, I assume that's the person we're looking for. And then we see a shot of Odakawa in his passenger seat, like on the left hand side, in the passenger seat, watching either the sunset because the background is orange or whatever. So he's either watching the sunset or the city burning. I'm not sure what either of those metaphors could stand for, but we've got that. And then the last thing we see is an unidentifiable figure sinking in a lake ocean while Odekawa drives off. Now, so I mean, how that opening ends is also like it transitions perfectly to, well, not perfectly, but like it transitions to the start of the first episode where it opens with someone sinking in the lake or ocean. So that was basically all the thoughts I have on the opening. And I don't know, man. There was a lot in this, so that's all the stuff that's like swirling around in my head. And then I don't know if you hadn't picked up on any of the stuff that I pointed out. Also keep some of that in mind as you watch the second episode as well. Now, as for the scenes, I'll probably breeze through these ones because on one, it's a lot more notes, and two, I think I pointed out some of them last episode, so I don't want to be too repetitive. Uh, okay, so we have the cinder block weighted body that's sinking into the ocean, and then when I was saying last episode that, oh shit, they're breathing, I meant like the air bubbles that were coming up. I assumed it meant that the person in the body bag. But if they're dead, well, if they're dead, they wouldn't. But I think the air bubbles were meant to signify that that person was probably still breathing and like they were drowning in that body bag that's weighted. I don't think they were already a corpse going into the water, is what I'm trying to get at. But then that also could have just been to make sure, like the cinder blocks could have just been to make sure the body doesn't float to the surface. And then straight after that, right, Odakawa wakes up from a nightmare in his taxi, and he coughs as though he's coughing out water, as if he was, as if in this nightmare, if that's what we're taking it as, right? As if he was the one who was drowning, and then you know, like when you wake up shocked from a dream or whatever, as if he was experiencing that. So like he wakes up coughing as if he's like got water in his lungs. Which also made me think, because we know he has an illness, which made me think that maybe he has something like his illness has something to do with his lungs. But now I'm less sure of that theory. So we know the story takes place in Nerima City. we see that he's got pills in his glove compartment. This is way before we see anyone like a doctor or anything. Oh, the pills are for sleep, the sleeping medicine, I think. Which then also, why would he be taking those if he, because he was sleeping in this taxi? Why would he take those pills? Okay, nah, I'm reaching. I'll wait for the second episode. Right after that, right? Because another thing which spurred me to do this is because the dialogue, right? Because I when you there's subtitles, so I'm reading the subtitles sometimes a lot more than paying attention to the stuff that's going on. Now, that whole sequence during the like while the radio people were talking on the show, and it lasted a long time. Like while we're seeing all the other characters and stuff, these guys are just talking about firstly the fan mail they got as well as the missing girl case. Which I was thinking, why would this be such a prominent feature of this episode? And my theory is because I think they read that Satoshi, right, is a student from Tokyo, and from the opening, that cat that is collecting those falling items, those are all stationary. So my guess, even though we haven't been introduced to him, I'm guessing that Satoshi is that cat from the opening, and he's the one who wrote that basically hate mail to this radio station, who was shitting on these guys' comedy or whatever. Next thing we see is the Mystery Kiss group, idol group, but her two backup dancers are cats, and they're wearing masquerade masks, and that just had me thinking, like, because I looked at the one cat on the right side, and she was like a gray cat, right? It had me thinking, if she was to go missing, I feel like it would be very easy to replace her with another gray cat that wears a mask. So I wonder if that has anything to do with the current cat girl that's missing right now, or if I'm reaching. But we'll see if this episode sheds light on any of that. Oh, okay. Then we then see Kakihana, because during the first episode I saw, like, I was confused by two monkeys that I saw. I didn't pick up that it's the same person, but we see that Kakihana is the janitor. We then see the kangaroo and the kangaroo hostess. We see the alpaca nurse with her hand in her bag. She's in some sort of inventory room, and she's got her hand in the bag, which implies that she's, obviously stuffing something in there. And then she comes out of the inventory room. She looks at Goriki. She looks sad and walks off, which makes me think she probably feels guilty about whatever she's doing. Goriki didn't pay any mind because he was reading a book. Because I'll probably come back to that anyway. But the shot where, like, it was almost shot for shot, it was the identical scene, except like the gerbil nurse that we see at the end when she's reporting the stolen goods. You'll see even the jars are in the same place, the shelves are aligned perfectly. It's just that, like, you could say it's almost like they traced that same shot and then just removed the one nurse who stole and replaced her with the nurse who reported. I like how they did that. Oh, and then the yellow dog from the opening, who we haven't met, we see him and he's on the phone during Mystery Kiss's performance, right? So I'm thinking he's probably some sort of manager of this group, and it makes sense. She's a dog, he's a dog. They probably have some sort of kinship. I don't know. We see Dobu polishing the revolver. We see the other guy from the opening, which is the one with the red jacket and I think the white hair, and he's watching a Mystery Kiss's performance. Okay, we've got Taichi, who's the hippo. I saw that on his Twitter handle the first time because I was busy reading the text. I didn't pay attention to his name, but the hippo's name is Taichi. I think Kabasawa, but I'll just stick to first names so I don't butcher anything. His name is Taichi. He gets in the taxi and he's going to Nerama, which is where the girl has gone missing, which is where the story is set. Odekawa gives us insights on his character. Like, he's a chronic overthinker who just tries not to offend anyone. Taichi wants to go viral because he says his friends have, and he believes that, like, clout represents a person's worth, even to prospective employers. Which I want to say I don't agree with that, but at the same time, when the kangaroo was talking about how money represents a person's worth, I think I recall myself saying facts to that. So I don't know. Both of those is very superficial, but I feel like social media is less important than money for those that it doesn't directly like translates to income for. Oh, the big thing, it's these. I think the things that initially when I watched it, I just shoved as background things while I was waiting for stuff to happen on screen. I think those are the most important, because here's another piece. So Odekawa reads this one post on Twitter, right, of someone who heard a conversation between two high school boys in Starbucks, right? A cat and I think it was a sausage dog from the silhouette. But what had me thinking is, okay, this person who's missing is a high school student. The two boys are high school students. One of them is a cat as well. So I don't know. I think every time I hear the word high school or someone mentions high school, my ears will just prick up because I don't know. there's something there. Whenever it's brought up, it's important because the person you're looking for is a high school cat girl. So I'll keep that in mind. Okay, then we see the Dobus in the selfie that Orikawa and Taichi take. There's the police encounter, which I think I touched on that at the roadblock where they're looking for Dobu. Orikawa calls him out on it being strange because this is your friend that you're asking me about. The little brother, I don't think the little brother knows of his older brother's like corrupt dealings. The older brother tells his younger bro, I think the older brother's name is Daimon, though I do not know for sure. The older brother tells the little brother not to believe anything Orikawa says. He calls him a compulsive liar, which, you know, he's projecting much. And I think the younger brother is none the wiser. So that wraps up that scene. Orikawa doesn't like him. He tells this to Taichi. He says he's anal about stupid little details. Now, I laughed at it just because of the word, but I didn't know what it means to be anal. So I looked it up, and it basically means to annoyingly obsessive about something. So he's annoyingly obsessive about little details. Right after that, we see the Taichi asks Orikawa why he became a taxi driver, and then there's that transition to it flashes back to Orikawa being in the passenger seat because he's looking at the person in the driver's seat. There's some sort of female driving, right? And then there's a child in the back seat. Now, because I haven't seen any humans, and I don't think humans exist in this world, I think that's probably some sort of primate that's in the back seat. But that child is missing their hand from the look like their hand must have been chopped off. Okay, then the selfie goes viral, and I think that selfie is how Diamond. I'm gonna keep calling him that until I learn who that name belongs to. That's how Diamond knew that Orikawa is in a position to incriminate Dobu, and then went to him at the hospital and all that. At Orikawa's house now, right after the break, we see on the news that there's a cat girl who's missing, and then right after that, we cut to a glass of milk, which is pretty full, and Orikawa doesn't take like a sip from that. So I think as far as theories go, I'm more convinced that that cat girl is now staying with him in his closet than being the person in the body bag. Just because I think that's what the signs are pointing to right now. I still could be wrong, but that's what the signs are pointing to. Oh, we also know that there's a 2 day gap between when the girl went missing and when her mom reported her missing. So I don't know. We'll probably at some point get an idea of what happened in those 2 days. And then if we're looking at the panel on the news channel, I believe that the gentleman, the guy who's called Master Donraku, I think, yeah, Goriki brings it up, says Master Donraku has a routine. The nurse says she has a Donraku eraser. When I saw now for the second time, that eraser, that's actually the person who was on the news panel that Odakawa was watching before coming to his appointment. So we saw, so it's not Dobu, but the nurse gives it to Odakawa. I don't know why. I'm also not going to look into that for now. But this erases the one from the opening with the cat that I was mentioning earlier, the one that the cat tried to get. Oh, I think they had like a whole discussion about what Rakugos were, and I didn't know what that was, so I looked it up, and the first result I think described it as it's like Japanese verbal entertainment, right? So the way I took it is it's sort of like a hybrid between like stand-up comedy and then a spoken word storytelling, you know. So because it's basically a solo act, a person gets up on stage and they tell a funny story using I think 2 props. I didn't note down what those were, but you can Google it as well, Rakugo. I'm guessing that it's now knowing what it is and listening to the context of the conversation. I'm guessing it's like theater of the mind, like audiobooks, which is why Odakawa can fall asleep listening to it, because while you sleep in the sky is painting these images in your imagination. So it's almost like they're guiding you through a dream, which then leads back to my earlier question of does Odakawa have insomnia of some kind, which he does because they prescribe him sleeping pills. There's radio presenters who call themselves the Homo sapiens, and then now we have Bruce Springsteen and a reference to like humans. So I don't know if there's humans in this world or if those characters have like animal equivalents in this world, you know. But I'm just gonna assume like all these people are canon in this world, even if maybe they are in animalistic forms. Okay, and then right after that we have Odakawa confronting Daimon about trying to break into his car, because there's no good reason why he'd say not to go to the police unless he was doing something, you know, shady off the books or whatever. And then it's established that the girl must have been a passenger in the past 2 weeks because that's as far back as Odakawa's footage goes. And I think I saw somewhere that I think in the news they say she went missing on the 4th. So we'll probably go timeline. We're probably on like the 18th. Okay, and then there's the cop threat, which basically affirms that yeah, he is working with Dobu. Then we have Kakihana liking every picture he comes across with the kangaroo spot now. Kakihana's back's been hurting because he's a janitor. That was also something I didn't pick up on the first time around, I don't think. Kakihana tells us about Odekawa, and I figured they must be longtime friends. And if they've known each other since childhood, Odekawa must be in his 40s as well. Oh yeah, they tell us about Odekawa being sarcastic, that it was abandoned and all that. The neighbors suspect that Odekawa is secretly living with someone. Probably should have looked up what psychotropic drugs are. I'll let the show explain it to me. In the last scene where Odekawa was driving the taxi home, he comments that nurses make good money. So that had me thinking, is the alpaca, because he's sarcastic, right? So he says they're making good money, and I think he says that's why she's taking a taxi. But if he's being sarcastic, which Kakihana just established that he is, then Odekawa is saying that because he knows nurses shouldn't be able to be making a lot of money and take taxis. That's weird. Taxis should be like pretty affordable. But I think he's not being sincere when he says that, which had me thinking that maybe the alpaca is selling drugs on the side for bread, and I don't know what other ends, but I think she's got like a side hustle, and she was selling them to maybe Dobu for some reason. I also have a question here of how much time has passed between his appointment and then, as in between his appointment and when he picks her up to drive home, because she asks, "Do you remember me?" Oh, she says, "You remember me," which I don't think if it was the same day that she would have brought that up. Oh, she's an alpaca, right? And Odekawa also comments on young people, so there must be an age gap that I couldn't see through the character designs. But if he's in his 40s and he considers her young, she must be maybe in her 20s somewhere. And then she hits him back with the drop the generation crap gap, which is a nice callback because it's like, hey, she remembers him too, you know? Alright, okay, so that's basically all the notes that I have from episode 1. Comment below if there's anything that I picked up that maybe you missed on your first time watching. And I think with that, we'll be ready to jump into the second episode. So let's go.
盛況でしたね。チケットもソールドアウトでね。早くバイトやめたいな。僕はやめましたけどね。は？ネタも書いてんのお前。メール来ました。サピエンスの単独ライブ見に行きました。まず単独ライブは基本ファンが行くので、僕たちの価値を信じ、信念を持つのは素晴らしいことです。
眠り方を忘れたんだよ。どうやってたっけなって。
いいこと教えてあげようか。羊を数える。
まるで自分が発見したみたいに言うけど、古の昔からあるからそれ。
あとさ、シンディ・ローパーだと思う。
何が？
MVP。
イヤー・ザ・ワールド見たのかよ。くなってた。
いつ？
小学校の高学年。
そこからどうやって生活してたの？
圧迫面接かよこれ。
ごめんなさい。踏み込みすぎたわ。
まだ返せてないのか。
Is that why she steals drugs? Wait.
返せた。
Never mind. But that was maybe her motive for
あんた生まれはどこなんだ？
like reselling
宮崎。
drugs.
ちょっと宮崎民謡歌って。
言葉にするの難しいな。
写真とかないのか？
あるよ。見たい？
見たい見たい。柿花に教えてからかってやる。
Selfie cam. Come on. Hey, that was smooth. That was smooth.
悔しいけど小戸川チャンスだよこれ。
何の？
That guy part of the.
俺らこのままいけば独身コースまっしぐらだぜ。
どうすりゃいいかな。
俺ならそうだな。ちょっとじらして冷たく接しといて、病院で会った時とかにこう優しく微笑み。
うるせえよも
うるせえ。さぞかし喜ぶだろう。孫の顔も見せてやりたいだろ
Alright, they're
う。
abandoning
それ
it.
より
Keep on thinking
両
about
親がいなくなった俺に生活費を送ってくれた人に幸せな姿を見せたいなとは思
う。なんだ太鼓ママんとこ寄ってく？
う。いやこれから夜勤だしいいや。
いいじゃん、誰もいないんだし。太鼓ママが久しく小戸川の顔見てないって寂しがってたし。
Oh no, bro! Don't even. Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it! Please, please don't do it, dog. She's 18, bro. She's 18, bro. Don't do it.
なあ聞いてんのか柿花。
What is that supposed to signify an erection? Come on, dog. he's probably gonna think that Odokawa has something to do with the response he got on the street. I don't know if he's gonna start hanging out to keep up that image. Like maybe he made friends with this Turkish rapper because of like some fake wholesome shit. There's that guy with the red jacket from the opening.
今井さんまた並んでくれたんだ。
当たり前じゃん。ルイタンのデビューずっと
特別ハグなんてどう？
いいの？思ったんだけどさ、市村さんも三ツ矢さんも素顔の方がいいって。可愛いのにもったいないよ。俺てっきりチェキでは仮面外すもんだと思ってたもん。あれじゃあ誰も。
件だったんだ。
そっか、大人の事情ってやつだね。あとさ、三ツ矢さんダンスのキレ悪くなったよね。具合でも悪いのかな。
She related to that missing cat girl.
バイトもレッスンもしながら家で動画。
お時間です。ありがとうございました。手売りしてきてくれないか。
嘘でしょ？二階堂さんはいいの？
仕方ないよ。ルイとは売り上げが違うんだもん。
どうせ私たちなんて。
本当すまない。
ないよ私なんて。
自己肯定感低すぎでしょ市村さん。
だってもともと素顔でやってて。
私なんだかんだ親に愛されて育ってるからかもしれないです。
やば、それ確かに大きいかも。
です特に唐揚げ。
やば、カロリーやばい。
市村さんの語彙力の方がやばいですよ。
え、やばい。
想像以上だ。上出来だよ二階堂。
Oh, okay.
ネットニュースにも取り上げられてる。
全然だよ。
One's probably a stage name.
CM 打った割には売れてない。
今井って男さ、
Those
あの5人の中にいたんだよな。
Oh, okay. Okay, he's got a start card.
あの人からだ。
It's them.
はい、山本です。
Okay.
はい、
Yellow Dogs.
滞りなく。はい。半分ですよね。もちろん。え？ドラレコって
Trash can.
探してみます。運転手の名前わかりますか？
Are they working
わからないんじゃちょっと。
or are they
そうですよね。
working for him?
わかりました。
お願いしますよ。お金ないっすよ。
仕方ねえな。
Merch. Grocery bags and merch.
くそ、全部外れだ。
おいおい、そんなの買ってる金あったらタクシー代ぐらい残しとけよ。
違うんすよ。ミステリーキッスの CD デビューっすよ。
苦節短いな。
思えば1年前、偶然入ったライブで彼女たちと出会ったんですよね。あの時は俺含めて客が5人しかいなかった。それが今日、あんなにたくさんのファンが、さらに市村志保の等身大の控えめさ。
Okay.
三者三様キャラが立ってたし、まさに三位一体だったんだよな。
よく喋るなってのもあるけど、キャラが尻つぼみに弱くなってくな。
なんてったって、俺は二階堂推しだもの。二階堂ルイ応援アカウント作るぐらい。
へえ。
でね、なんか良さげですね。早速買ってきます。
おい、金持ってたのかよ。
Taxi drivers wouldn't let that slide, yeah. Let's stop the whole taxi van. Hey, sneaky link. 10 to midnight. That's
すいません休憩中
we'll talk from the opening.
ジャパン放送まで
Horse? Donkey?
何見てるの？
なんか収録ネタになるもんないかな思って
勉強熱心やな。
見てみこういうの腹立てへん
That creature. Hey, shout out to the boy.
わかるわ。普通にその音楽聴きたいのにな。
たまに感動するやつあるけどな
カカオぐらいの知名度を手に入れる可能性があるから。
俺らにはもうないんかい
知ってるよ。ホモサピエンスでしょ。いつもラジオ聞いてるよ。
マジっすか
顔は知らなかったけど声で分かった。
そこやねんな運転手さん俺らどうやったら売れる思います
さあ、
どうする
しゃあないなと思う。俺はお笑いとかようわからんけど、なんかあんまこんなこと言いたいんだけど、俺が心の底からほんまにおもろいなと思うのはお前。あ、マネージャーからや。もうスタジオに着きます。はい。
So they work
What is
the
that?
graveyard shift.
はい
Which
明日
okay, that
別に大丈夫ですけど
that's when
はい
Odekawa was always driving.
ほんまですかはい失礼します
Don't do your homeboy dirty, bro.
Oh, どちらも
Shit. I was wondering when we'd get this confrontation. Oh god. Don't tell me she set him up. Alright, so the purposes of this portion of the video is because the discussion portion of my reaction to episode 2, that file got corrupted essentially. So I basically have to go over whatever talking points I made at that point in the first video, which I don't quite remember, so this might be a bit recappy, but it's whatever. So the second episode opens up with the discussion between Odekawa and Kakihana, and they're talking about the taxi ride with the alpaca nurse, and we learn that her name is Shirikawa, and they also bring up another name, Taiko, which, because I don't know what other females Kakihana has in his life, I assume that that's the kangaroo hostess. Kakihana, on his dating site, looking for marriage, I think is what it's called, he received a DM from Shio, and Shio is an 18-year-old, so I don't know how I feel about that, and I also don't know why she's looking for marriage at her age. But that's it's probably cultural dissonance. Right after that, we then see the red, I think I called him a gray cat in the opening. I looked at him in this episode, and I think he's a skunk, which is why he has the white, because you know skunks are like black, white, black. That's why he has that white tuft of hair, as well as his tail didn't look like the stringy cat tail. It was more fluffy like a skunk. That's why I came to that conclusion. He's the guy with the red jacket, and his name is Imai. I think after this episode, actually, everyone who's in the opening has now been introduced in some caliber in the show, right? Imai, when you saw him, he was I think he was pushing through a crowd, and he was holding like pieces of paper. And first I thought those were tickets to go see the performance, but it turns out those were lotto tickets, because he's playing the lotto so he can buy all of Mystery Kiss's merch and CDs, I think. He wants to be like a #1 fan. The lead singer of Mystery Kiss, Rui, she's a dog idol, and then her backup cat singers, one is named Ichimura, which I think Ichimura is Shio, so that's the 18-year-old. That's the white and orange, white and ginger cat. And then Mitsuya is the other one, who is she's like black or a very dark gray. They also then brought up another name, Nikaido. And I think at first when they put it up there, I think they said they want to attract big spenders like Nikaido. So at first I thought Nikaido was maybe some sort of corporate sponsor or whatever. But then afterwards I learned that no, Nikaido is Rui's first name. It's not another character we haven't seen. We see meet their manager for the first time in this episode. The yellow dog with the staff card. I think is a dog. Kind of looks like a jackal as well. But I think I'll stick with dog because that's the safer bet. His name is Yamamoto, and he received an anonymous phone call, and I'm not sure what the guy on the phone was talking about, because there was no clear dialogue anyway. But they brought up something about a dash cam, which makes me think one of two things. Either these people are working with Dobu, what would that connection be? Okay, I don't think it's either they're working with Dobu, but I don't know those logistics, or they're looking for Dobu because of the case of the missing cat girl. At first, I couldn't see a connection, but I mean, Shia was 18, right? And again, I'm not sure about this, but where I'm from, you're still in high school when you're 18. That's like your final year of high school. So if we have a missing high school cat girl, it's possible that maybe she used to be part of this idol group at some point, and then she went missing, and maybe Yamamoto's bosses know that Dobu is somehow connected to her disappearance, and that he's recently resurfaced with that image that was seen on the Twitter. Either that, or they're looking for Odekawa, who there's also rumors being spread by Diamond mostly that he's staying with someone, and maybe they think that there's a connection there as well. Yeah, I'm not sure where Yamamoto's allegiances lie, but he's connected to Dobu somehow, him and his higher ups. And then obviously I think Kakihana is gonna set up a date with this child that he's over double the age of. Let me think, he's 41. Yeah, he's like 23 years older than her. She's 18. Like, just wait a couple years, bro. It's still a bit too big of a gap. Well, let me actually just get off that. It's not my place. And then right after that, I think they also mentioned that, I don't know how important this is in the grand scheme of things, probably just backstory, but Imai is like a day one fan of this idol group. I think if there was a member who went missing, I think he would know. So the fact that he hasn't brought that up, maybe I'm off about her having been part of the group. I can't tell. He's clearly young, like he's either late teens or early 20s, but he's working. I think he said he's a waiter, so I think he's out of high school, but he has to be at most like early 20s. And I think we also saw Taichi is also still in school, so he's probably in that same age range as Taichi. Oh, and then we had the Homo sapiens, right? Those two guys, the radio presenters, is what they do. It's revealed that okay, they're not humans. Now, the first time around, I thought that they were humans, and I thought the significance of them calling themselves the Homo sapiens is because humans are such a rarity in this world that that's like their gimmick. But as it turns out, nah, it's just a warthog and another horse. So I think that humans don't exist in this world whatsoever. And if Bruce Springsteen and Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson, all them, if they exist in this world, they probably have like animal equivalents or like animal counterparts to their IRL selves. I don't think there's humans in this world. Oh, it was also funny that the nurse went because she was out of the loop during Koriki and Odekawa's discussion about the song. She was just bored in the first episode, and she took the time to go and listen to the song just so she can have like banter to make with him. So that was pretty cute. His name is Baba, the name of the horse. I don't know what the warthog's name is. I think he's currently the only unnamed person from the opening. If we go with my theory that Satoshi, who also in this episode wrote another mail of critique or whatever to the duo, if he is the cat in the opening, like playing the Mario Kart game, then we just need the warthog's name and maybe the younger raccoon cop's names, and then we have a whole cast filled out. Also, I'll probably have to go look and look for the shot. I think I saw in, I don't know what that flippy thing you call this, but where like drivers keep their licenses and shit, that thing you can flip to block the sun sometimes. I have to go back and look at it, but I think I saw a red pen with a heart thing at the top. Anyway, it doesn't look like a missile from what I saw, but maybe that's the pen that Cat in the opening is looking for as well. But I don't know. That's just a spitball. I felt like this episode was a lot slower in terms of things happening on screen. Like there really wasn't a lot going on. They were just chilling in the sauna. It was another taxi ride. I mean, with the exception of the last scene, of course, because let me speak about it, because I didn't know when I expected that confrontation to happen. I didn't think it was going to be in the second episode, right, between Dobu and Odekawa, because I also don't know the relationship between those two. Like, I don't, like, okay, Dobu, I know he knows that he was in the dash cam because the cop probably told him, but I don't know if they know each other prior to that. I don't know if he's in the taxi now and he's holding him at gunpoint because the cop told him to, or another possibility, which is concerning but is possible, is that Shirakawa, the alpaca nurse, set him up, because we saw in episode 1 she was having a conversation with Dobu in the alley, and now she's like, yo, come see me, and then Dobu. But nah, I don't think that works, because when he gets in the taxi, he's not where she said they should meet. So I don't know, but I think it's possible that she set him up. Overall, yeah, I felt like in terms of things happening on screen, it was slower than the first episode. And at the same time, while I say that, the dialogue seemed like it was so much snappier, and it was almost hard to keep up with, having to read everything they said. Because, for example, with Odekawa and the nurse's dialogue, like while he's talking, she's talking. While she's singing, he's talking. They're like over talking each other almost, and I can't look up and down at the same time. So that made it a bit harder to read. But I must still stick with it because I'm not about to start watching dub one just to win. But yeah, I think that was basically the main points that I've got. That, yeah, I just wanted to put this here because, again, the original file got corrupted, so I had to, as a placeholder, this is what I have. But I think if you guys say that you do like those discussions at the beginning, well, by the time the next episode is up, maybe I'll have enough comments giving me feedback on that. But I'll do like I did with the first episode earlier in this video. I'll also have a discussion where I look at the episode more thoroughly this time, without it just being my initial reaction, which I just had to get that out the way so you guys could see what that looked like. And that was basically my thoughts and theories on this episode. If you haven't seen my reaction to the first episode, go ahead and click over here to watch that. And if you want to see my Attack on Titan inspired rap video, go ahead and click over here to watch that. Oh, otherwise, with that out the way, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. See you guys next time. Peace.